Hey everybody, this is Chuck from Presscheck Training and Consulting. Today I want to take a little bit of time and talk about gun belt, duty belt, battle belt, range belt, belt setup. Specifically, this is going to be talking about wearing an external belt, not a belt that is also the same belt that holds up your pants. Based on mission and circumstances, there's a bunch of times that I did not wear any type of traditional two-belt system, and I took items that you would traditionally be found on a gun belt, and I just routed them through the rigger style belt that held up my cry pants. And the reason for that was to reduce bulk and to reduce weight. If the pants that I'm wearing around every day are not the pants that I'm going to go do my job in, more like a firefighter scenario where they've got their utilities on in the firehouse and then their fireproof pants are pre-staged and they get dressed to go to work, that's the biggest differentiator in my mind about whether or not you should be wearing an external belt system versus pouches directly on your pants belt. If you don't want to have to carry those heavy items around with you all day long, you want the ability to separate the load carriage from your pants. If you are getting dressed to go to work, you have less versatility, but you can cut some of that weight or bulk down by just using some type of stiffened belt in your pants and then pre-routing the pouches in between your belt loops on the trousers that you're going to wear when you're actually going out and doing your work. So today's video is going to be focused primarily on an outer belt system that is added to the top of your pants when you're getting dressed to get ready for work. So I've got a Blue Force Gear grid belt and two Blue Force Gear chalk belts here, and I'll kind of be pointing around and talking to these at will during the video. So the difference between the grid belt and the chalk belt is as simple as the chalk belt is a life-saving piece of equipment. It has integrated hard points in it for the use of safety lines designed to keep you from bouncing around inside of an aircraft or to provide a hard point if you're in like a really aggressive downslope environment where you're in a mountainous terrain or something like that, where you can lock in. You know, let's say if you're having to belay somebody else and you need to not be able to get pulled off of the hill, you can use the chalk belt to attach to a piece of pro behind you or something like that. So the chalk belt has the attachment points in the front and in the back. You guys have already seen the chalk belt, hopefully, because it's not a new piece of gear. The grid belt reduced that additional life-saving piece of equipment capability from the belt. It brings the price point down, lowers the weight of the belt just a hair as well. So I've got a grid belt that I'll use for like doing range stuff and things like that, and then I've got chalk belt that I'll use if I'm going to be training a organization or entity that's got aircraft and I need to be able to ride an aircraft, or we're shooting from really high up places where I want to be kind of hooked in the event that I take a spill. So this is my range belt that I teach with. It's a multicam grid belt, and that's just that's what I got, was multicam. And I've got my pistol hanger on the right hand side. I have no issues. One of the things I like about both the grid and the chalk is there's enough rigidity in the belt system, and it's thick enough that if I slide on a Safariland belt hanger, it doesn't really move back and forth. The idea of screwing through and hard mounting your hanger in a specific place, this is actually a tip that we got from the competitive shooting world, where they want to be able to index that gun in the exact same spot every time. And with traditional belt loop style, if you're grabbing or carrying the gun by the end, your pistol hanger could shift forward or backward on the belt a little bit, and then when you go to put it on, the gun is not resting in the exact same spot when you go for a fast draw. So Blue Force Gear created an adapter that allows it to screw in and move, so there's no chance that it's ever going to be forward or backward of where I've spaced it when properly placed on my hip. But as I said, I've never really had a problem with the Safariland UBL shifting around on this belt either. It's got a real good rigidity, so you're definitely not you're definitely not out of the game if you're taking a traditional belt hanger design and putting it on this belt. I want to have some first aid on me, so I've got the Trauma Kit Now Micro with a tourniquet hanger under that. This comes in a horizontal footprint, and it has the reduced size dressings for a really, really small footprint. If I were doing duty stuff, this might not be enough first aid for me, but this is literally range accident management levels of stuff going on there. There's a micro version which slims this down even more to like the bare minimum that you would need for bleeding control, and it changes the form factor to a vertical profile like this. So the Nano takes up a little bit less real estate horizontally on your belt and trades it for a little bit of a vertical and a slimmer footprint. So maybe if I was riding in a car or having this in my lower back seated for long periods of time didn't work, I might opt to go to something like the Nano and kind of offset it to one side or the other so I can sit more comfortably in a vehicle. So that's another option. With all these things, what you're using your belt for, the use case, and your requirements for what you're doing with it are more important than anybody's setup that you see on the internet. This is definitely something that is personal to the individual user, and you under no circumstances should be mimicking another guy's setup because you saw it on the internet and you think he's a good guy. Apply what they're saying and apply those same principles to your use case, but don't just try to copy somebody else's homework, if you will, all right? So because this first aid pouch works for me, it might not be the first aid pouch that works for you. And we've got the Micro Plus, which allows you to carry more items than this on your gear as well. So I can go smaller than what I'm using for my range belt. I can go larger than what I'm using for my range belt. These are all just various options that you have. Because the range belt, pretty much the only other thing it needs to carry other than the gun and some first aid is the ammo that I'm going to train with. So I've got a set of S-Tac pouches here with the front one, because it's up all the way up forward, it's cocked over a little bit so that I can get to those reloads easier. So it's currently set up for a rifle and pistol class. So I've got 2 mags up front. I have a Kydex beer can speed reload for the rifle, and then I have an additional Blue Force Gear magazine stackable in the rear so I can carry a second 30-round mag. If I need more than 60 rounds of rifle ammo, I'm going to go ahead and either move to a chest rig or I'm going to bring a range bag up and swap out mags. I also have the back pockets on my Cries that I normally administratively carry a mag in each when I'm on the range training. So with 1 in the gun, 2 on the belt, and 2 in my back pockets, I have 5 magazines of ammo before I've got to either put on a chest rack or go back to the range bag and get more ammunition. So again, weight management is always really important for me. I'm getting older, orthopedic issues, lower back stuff, whole career of doing the DOD thing, and there's no reason to carry weight around just for the sake of carrying weight around. Up front, I've got a set of Presscheck assault gloves there for handling steel, handling targets that have a lot of staples or anything in them. So any of the general purpose range setup, range breakdown stuff, I've got my gloves on board there. I've got all of my zeroing tools for adjusting various optics that myself or the students may have. And I have here a little bit of liquid chalk or gem chalk on a little carabiner. So if I forget to bring my Petzl chalk or whatever out of my range bag, I've got a smaller tube right there where I can squirt and add some chalk to my hands if it's a hot day out there and I'm training. And that's pretty much it. The belt has everything that I need and not a whole lot that I don't need when I'm out on the range teaching a class and training. And then we have 2 versions of the chalk belt. These are set up a little bit more for like duty style use and not just for range use. My good friend Chris Sizlove, this is his belt. I actually stole it from him today. And so Sizlove's got his ammunition set up much in the same way that I've got mine. He's using upright Blue Force Gear pouches. These are the ones with the mag to the side, and they've got the ability to have retention over the top and then 10-speed elastic for them to get those magazines out in a very, very fast manner. He's got the chalk belt set up with the safety line for aircraft ops, and it looks like he's got a Marco hanging there. So he's got some baby chems of one color and then 2 other colored chem lights for different marking things going on there. Back here, Chris has decided to use the dump pouch now, and he keeps it stowed, and he's using it, actually running it off of the stackable. So again, he has the ability to carry 60 rounds of rifle right here on the arm or on the belt, with the stackables giving him a dump pouch like capability, or an admin pouch off to the side around 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock on his belt. So if he's got a pro timer or he's got a water bottle or something, and he just wants to put it someplace and he's not wearing cargo pants, he can slip that right down in the dump pouch. You can use that dump pouch for a tack reload during an actual actual mission or whatever. He could deploy the dump pouch. He can put partials in here and then sort them out and re-put them in his kit later. Secure empty mags if he wants to. Can take evidence, secure a pistol off the ground, something like that, and have a place to put it so that the gun is not unsecured on target. On the back of the kit, we've got the hanger point for the other side. This is the aircraft side of the safety line. So I'll hook into the hard point of the aircraft with that. And then just showing an example of some different ways to carry restraints. This style of restraint has an actual breakaway snap at the top, so you can pop the snap off. This double cuff design is using heavy duty rubber bands with a girth hitch, and they're placed through the beaner. That way, if you want to get these cuffs out, you can just pull and break them off. Chris has opted to go with the trauma kit now, size small. 2 rows or 2 columns of PALs wide. He's got a TQ over here on the side, and this holds a pretty good amount. This is I would say a duty amount. It allows you to use full-size chest seals in here, a little bit more room, full-size gauze, chitosan dressings, quick clot, whatever, and not the ClearMed reduced size dressings that are needed for those smaller micro or EDC low signature types of events. And then we've got the low profile general purpose pouch, which is a 2-zip pouch that it would go basically from 6 o'clock around to probably 4:30 on Chris's belt. This allows him to hold notebook, note-taking material, markers, power bar, maybe VS17 signaling panel. Might have some survival items in here. You could have your waterproof matches if you were going to do that first line, second line, third line gear thing. If you had to ditch your ruck and this was the only thing that you had on your body, what would you want? Maybe some fishing line, your fishing hooks, like all that little survival kit stuff. All that stuff would go really, really great in this medium pouch here. And then Chris is also running a Blue Force gear belt hanger with his Safariland over on his strong side. So this is pretty decent, what we would call kind of green side duty belt configuration. Very, very similar is this kind of LE jump out boy configuration where you've got a pistol mag. This is a different pistol mag pouch, and I kind of really dig it. For you guys that like those Safarilands that run the double and the triples where the bullets are out instead of bullets towards the belt buckle, Blue Force Gear's got you. They got a new pouch now that just came out that allows you to go bullets out. It can be used if you wanted to go in a traditional bullets forward configuration. It does have that capability, but you could definitely tell that they designed it for bullets out. The skid plate on the front is a little bit narrower to account for that narrower profile, and the elastic goes front to back in relationship to the magazine, as opposed to front to back in relationship to the magazine on this pouch style over here. The mag out configuration is also really good for carrying your utility or your work handheld light. Anybody that's taken any type of low light class or whatever understands that a pistol mounted light is not enough for your illumination needs when you're wearing a duty or patrol belt. You've got to have the ability to throw light at stuff that you would not point a gun at. So one or the other of these, you can survive without a gun light and use this for shooting. You cannot survive without a work light and use your gun light for work. So these are complementary capabilities. If you wanted to run double mags, they have single magazine versions of this. You could run 2 mags up front, kick the rifle mags back, and then use a single as a flashlight pouch directly behind that. Easily accessible with your support side hand. Again, 60 rounds of rifle on board with the rifle pouches. You'll notice, and this is where kind of mission drives the gear train, if I was going to be wearing a larger assault style carrier, and I had items that I thought would impede or block my rifle mag, this Kydex pouch is really fast, but it's optimized for running a very, very slick kind of armor system. If I have any type of GP pouches or radios or stuff like that, these Kydex belt mounted pouches sit up too high and they kick the 30 round magazine up too high so that it would affect, and as I started to contort my body this direction, I would start getting my gear or side plates or whatever crashing into that magazine. So by going to the Blue Force gear mags, they don't give you as much Gucci purchase on the magazine for that beer can reload. It's a smaller profile area, but the entire magazine is pushed lower down on the belt. So this is a pouch style design like this would be something that I would want to use if I had a more bulky armor package going on. And something that you don't have to worry about as much in the field or on the range. In an LE environment, you've got to have a place to carry restraints. We've got a Blue Force gear cuff pouch in the back, and then I've co-opted and used a medium or a small boo-boo kit pouch to act as a front cuff spot as well. So easily accessible cuffs from the front, and then a more traditional off the kidney setup on the back. Again, for this, because it's duty gear, set out for more like tactical warrant stuff, whatever, larger trauma kit. If this was more of a patrol belt setup, you wouldn't have 2 mags of rifle, you'd have a radio, you'd have your taser and your other stuff on there, and then this trauma kit might get pared down to one of the micro styles. But because this is more of an overt warrant service jump out kind of kit, we're going to go ahead and go with the larger first aid pouch because why not? You've got this bigger, larger belt on. You're potentially planning on employing a rifle and being overt in your stuff. Chances of making contact or getting in a shooting are going up. So I'm going to want to have more first aid capability on the belt as needed. So that's kind of the general show and tell of what we've got on the table. But at the end of the day, it all goes back to what do you have to carry? How much of it do you have to carry for the job that you're intending the belt to do? Can you carry any of this gear someplace else? And what gear do you absolutely want to be on your body if you need it? I can carry a handheld light on a plate carrier somewhere, but am I always going to have my plate carrier on? So if it's an item that's going to be a high use item that I can access easily from that belt line, even in armor, that's the type of pouches that I'm looking at putting down onto the belt line if possible. I want my first aid with me, even if my armor's off. I want to have my work light with me, even if my armor's off. I want to have my pistol reload with me, even if my armor is off. So these are the things that I kind of think through when I'm building up my belts. So if you are interested in any of these pouches that are on any of these belt setups, as well as potentially instructional videos or product description videos that might go deeper down in the weeds on that, go to blueforcegear.com. All this stuff is available on their product line in various configurations and colors. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.